My name is Madeleine Tuttle. I'm Will's wife, and we have a good time together. We create a lot of things, and I'm a painter, artist, watercolor artist, and I did some creations since I was like 3, 4 years old, and painted ducks and all kinds of things. And so it evolved to painting still animals like tigers and elephants and giraffes and all that, which goes very good with the vegan message and Will's message too. I do the illustration for some books or the covers. And I just love doing this and having some kind of melting together between Will's work and my work. We also discovered that we can play music together. Will is a fantastic concert pianist, and I picked up the flute about 20 years ago and now improvise with Will. And this is one of my favorites of favorites to play every morning together. It's a ritual. And we have 2 albums actually, piano and flute, which is really nice. The other thing I love doing is doing cooking videos and also food preparation for raw foodists, and drinks, different drinks, and like we just talked together about oats, and there is a really nutritious, very delicious oat recipe I have online too, so please go there and the website and click on videos and you can see all that. I'm a passionate gardener. I spend every day at least 2 hours in the garden and attend the plants. We have a fruit forest with over 50 fruit and nut trees, and we have kale and herbs and berries and persimmons, Will's favorite fruit, and apricots, my favorite, and all these beautiful beings. These are our children. We love to see how they're doing. I go every morning early after 6 o'clock and do a little tour in the garden. It's all very well matching the vegan message, because as a vegan we like to have good food, and especially good food. And we don't like anymore the other foods we got grown up, which I grew up to some. I never liked it, but you know, you eat what you get. And so then when I was in my 20s, I redid all that because I met a couple of people. They were vegan raw foodists, and I jumped into that for 2 years. And I liked it because it made me even more creative. I had more time. I only slept 4 to 5 hours, and then I could create and do, paint and draw and knit, and I'm very much also a handicrafter. I love working with all kinds of materials, and so I did this for 2 years, like this vegan raw food. I mean, it was actually plant-based raw food. I have to say that right, because I didn't know what vegan was. And then I went on, I traveled the world, I met all these beautiful creatures we call the animals, and then at one point I met Will, and we just saw that we can create together, and then I became a real, true vegan, ethical, or like Will says, deep vegan. So that's what I did, and now we're really well settled in that mission, and and enjoy working together. Yeah, I was born in Switzerland, and we have these beautiful so-called cows, and they have all bells, and they get nominated for the best cows with flowers and garlands and all that. And so this is a whole kind of homey feeling I had. The cows out there, and they came up to the fence, and I caressed them, and cows everywhere, and the bells, and one takes a walk in the mountains. It's all home. So at one point I had to question, what is that about the home? And I really realized that the cows get exploited. So I can't support that. And from then on, when I went to a fence and to a cow, I, for the first time, looked deeply into the eyes of that cow. And I remember the face still right now. She was there, and she looked at me, and I looked at her, and she was very quiet, and I was very quiet, and we just looked. And I thought, wow, that's like my mother, my sister, or another human being. It's like nothing different. This made something inside me, but not to act right away on it. It was just one of the steps. I was a very sickly, weakly person as a child. I nearly died a couple of times. My mother already had my last photograph doing like when I was 5 years old, and thought this was it for her only daughter, which was very sad for her. But I met an amazing guy. I mean, my mother, I was too young then, but he just, in one sitting, he made me whole and well. I was like totally sick. I had high fever, close to overheating. And he was a homeopath and a spiritual healer. And he just solved the problem. And he told me I have to eat every day a handful of raw ground wheat and some other really interesting things. And he never ate meat in his whole life. He was 33 years old, a handsome, beautiful guy. I never forget his appearance. And this was deep down, I think, my model for later. Because when I met these two people, one was a professor and the other one was a gardener, who were both plant-based raw foodists, I just said yes right away. Oh, I'm doing this. Overnight I threw everything out which was animal foods and cooked or some packagings or all these things. I threw everything out, and next morning I started. I bought carrots when I was at the garden the night before, and I ate. You have to imagine, I took these carrots and I started eating. I thought that's what I have to eat, and I took a beet and I took a leek. It was November, going into the cold season, so I ate all these roots, and I was shivering like heck, because it was like cold and eating all these cold roots, and it was like not what I thought. But then I learned it's much easier. You don't have to go that way. But I was earnest, so I just like doing this. And I said, I will try it out. And after months, I became already stronger. And I did another month, and then I said, this is my diet now, because all my kind of this sickliness went away. And I was so white in my whole appearance, and I got some red cheeks, which was nice. And even my mother said, wow, this is amazing. You're becoming a strong, oak tree. And I liked that. So I went on and I found my way and got stronger and stronger. And now I did actually, I had to do a water fasting because at one point I got stuck. I should not forget that. Everybody should do a water fasting. Vegan is not enough. One has to do a cleaning, a detox, a deeply detox from all the chemicals and all the animal foods, all that thing, just cleaning deeply into the cells. And then I did that, and this made the big difference. And I could never have imagined to go back to the old food system. It's one of the best decisions I made because it's so freeing. Life gets simpler, cleaner, clearer, and I would just lay it close to your heart, my dear viewer, to go vegan too. It's great. We hear a lot about food poisoning with meats and dairy. Eggs are so dangerous to eat. I mean, all these animal foods are actually dangerous. And eating a vegan diet it doesn't need so much refrigeration. It's more simple. I really loved butter. Butter was raw. I always had it raw from the Alps. And this was my hardest thing, the butter. So now I had a choice. Either I make an exception and I search. I came to America here, and then I went to the different health food stores, and asked about butter, if they have some from the Alps. I was totally not American then. And they said, no, we don't have such a thing. We have this. This would be your best bet. I said, is it pasteurized? And then they said, yes. And I said, no, I don't eat pasteurized. Then everything is already killed. So I need other butter. I couldn't find it. And Will said, you know, you won't find butter this way. Do you really need to eat butter? He said. I said, yeah, I just love bread, fresh bread, self-made bread with butter. So then I decided, okay, I just give it up. And nowadays, Miyoko Schinner came out with this butter. It nearly tastes like Swiss butter. I mean, she is a genius, absolutely, all these cheeses she makes. Nowadays, it's not even difficult anymore. I had a regret in the beginning because I'm also a knitter. I actually, in Switzerland, I knew some sheep. I got the wool from the sheep, and I carded the wool, and I spun the wool, and I knitted or wove the wool. I made fabrics or sweaters and all that. So now here I am, and I'm a vegan. So that's not part of veganism, having that wool. So this was really, oh no, now what do I do? And so I researched, and I found that there are some hand-spun or nearly looking like hand-spun cottons, organic cottons, and I just do that. I'm so much a knitter, so I can get by without spinning. But we have a funny video of a very lonely sheep who got rescued from the pound, from the slaughterhouse. On our vegan tour, we came by that family who had that sheep in a pasture and rescued. And so the sheep, whenever we came out of our RV, which was parked close by, the sheep was looking over, and I was going and getting through that whole woolen mantle. And as I did that, suddenly I had all this fiber in my hands. Now you can imagine what I'm thinking about. I'm thinking, oh, wait a minute. All this fiber, I could maybe spin that. And then I had a brush with some metal bristles, and then I brushed the sheep. And while I was brushing, the sheep was always moving a little bit, so I not only do it here, but also in the behind there. He wanted to be, Black Jack was his name, and he wanted to be like brushed everywhere. So I got these mountains of hair. And then you can see on the video, I took that hair and I spun it, and I made a little piece of garment, some wrist warmers. You can see me knitting, and I really enjoyed that. So I thought, this is ethical because the sheep really gave me the allowance and really loved it. So if I would hang on to doing some woolen cardering and spinning, I would have to go to the forest where there are wild sheep and see when they scratch their back on the trees, and then there is a little bit of wool there. So that's the only way I can do it. Otherwise, I can't feel well about it. The way I like to share the vegan message is through beauty. My life is about beauty, creating beauty through the food, preparing it nicely, painting the food, kind of, you know, all the different colors, red and yellow and purple, and paintings of different kinds, like also flowers and landscapes. And music, of course, and making the house beautiful, the living space we're living in, making it beautiful, and so it's like sweet. It's really sweet. Just ask yourself, why do you eat animal foods? It's very unnatural. Everybody loves a plate of spaghetti or a nice lasagna without the meat. It's more delicious. A cake, a vegan cake. So why do we hang on? We're just totally manipulated from the outside. And it's actually easy to just leave the animal foods out. Don't think of it, I leave out ham and I leave out steak, I leave out omelette. Just ask yourself, where is my food coming from? As soon as you see derived from animal, then just don't eat it. Leave it out, and you will be so glad. Like in 21 days, you have a whole set of new taste buds, and so it's easy. And it's so, I mean, I can't even say how much easy. It's so easy. Like, for example, yesterday we had rice, lotus rice, which is grown on volcanic soil. It's fantastic. It's the Mercedes of the rices. And it tastes so good. And then I made a kind of a saucy salad. It's on a video, it's avocado orange salad, and it has lots of greens. It has herbs like parsley, fennel, oregano, or whatever you have at hand. I would, anyway, to do a quick sidekick is like grow your own food. Even if you don't have any plot, just have a pot or two and grow something. Grow some herbs, a tomato in the summer or a cucumber, and grow sprouts. We have also a sprout video Will made. It's easy. It's so easy. And so you have this one pot like rice and then that salad over it. It has cucumbers and it has lots of nice spices, cayenne and or garlic, whatever you like to choose. You can substitute anything. Or I make some rice with some winter squash and maybe some beans. And then a nice sauce over there, creamy tahini, lemon sauce, and then garnish with little greens. So it's easy, like lasagna is so easy. I substitute the cheese with nutritional yeast and some creamer of some kind or oat milk, which you can all see on the videos too. And it's delicious. It's absolutely delicious. One more thing which really makes you jump out of your shoes, and that's the chocolate mousse. It's made from avocado. It has only 3 or 4 things in there. So it's avocado is the base. It has fair trade. It's all organic cacao, and then vanilla, and some sweetener. You can blend up some dates, or you can use agave or maple syrup or whatever you like. And then you put a little peppermint leaf on top and a few raspberries if you have, and this is absolutely delicious. I know as a woman, one likes the dairy more than the meat. Men like more the meat, usually, with exceptions. So one is into milks and one is into yogurt, that healthy yogurt with probiotics. So I figured out making yogurt in a few minutes. You can see it on video. It's so easy making yogurt. I make oat milk, I make soy milk, I make all these different milks which I love. And I love yogurt. So I make the yogurt, and the butter I don't indulge because of the fat. It's like a pure fat bomb. So I'm not doing it. I take tahini, I put a little water and mix it up to a creamy, kind of firm substancy, and then just put it on the bread and some jam on top. I don't even feel anymore I regret or I have to give up something, the butter. So I'm done with it. Books are really good, and now I know a really great book, The World Peace Diet, and people absolutely love the book, and it's in about 18 languages and all that. So I would suggest to read that book, for example, and then go to our videos and research for yourself, because you will discover so many elements which maybe already live in your heart, like having a simpler lifestyle, not consuming. That's also veganism, not consuming that much. To be aware of what to consume, like organic, for sure, read labels, for sure, throw the TV out of the window, for sure. Yeah. We can't put the whole load of one's little sicknesses and this and that, anemic or whatever it is, or weak or sleepy or all that, onto the shoulders of vegan. Veganism is just one part, and it's a very important part because of the suffering of the animals, I would say. But then it's as well, a big part is exercise. We should exercise every day. Like for myself, I do half an hour of yoga every day. And then I do exercise striding, I go walking or swimming or different things. And it's good to just exercise the body, get it moving, because otherwise one could get chronic fatigue or all these strange illnesses one never had in the past. In the past, one was less sedentary, But now with computer and iPads and iPhones and everywhere, I, and one doesn't move anymore. So now we have to get into the habit of moving again and be creative and gentle and loving.